Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to crumble!
I'm Joshua Kemble, and welcome to Joshua Kemble's Livestream. I've been a freelance illustrator and graphic designer for over 20 years. I was an art director for 9 years. And when I'm not art directing and working on illustrations and graphic designs, I'm working on comic books and graphic novels, and that's usually what I do during my streams. And while conversations can go all over the place on this stream, from spicy and entertaining to goofy and silly, one thing stays consistent throughout every stream. I'll always be working on art. So pull up a chair, get your art supplies out, and get ready for an entertaining show that'll keep you company while you work on your own personal art projects. This is Joshua Kemble's Art Stream. Right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. This is episode 320. I'm going to be working on kids' book illustrations today. I'm actually pretty excited about it. Where have I been the last few days? I've been sick. It's been fun. Little sick thing going around the house. So I got sick, my son got sick, my wife is now sick. Let's see, anything else in the news for you guys? I guess basically I'm still pressing forward on the graphic novel. I'm still working on the script for the pitch that I'm working on with another author. We're going to have Richard Fairgray, the awesome cartoonist, on Artcasters. We've had him on once before. It was really fun. Looking forward to that conversation. We should be talking about using mediums that are kind of outside of the box, which I think will be a really cool conversation. And it'll be a chill stream where we're going to work on illustrating comics. Not comics, kids' books. So I'm working on a collaboration with my wife, and I'm going to work on a spread illustration during the stream. So that's basically what we're going to do. It's going to be a chill stream today. Nothing spicy, nothing too spicy. And just getting back on the horse after being sick. So here we go. Yeah, let's pull up our art thing. So here it is. So this is the basic spread illustration. Where I'm going to be basically drawing this little golfing dude for a client. We did the cover. We got the cover approved. And so this is well overdue. I should have gotten this done about like 3 days ago, but was sick again and kind of down for the count for a good chunk of time. I did get an illustration done for a client in the meantime. That was a t-shirt design. It's kind of like a blue design, like one color. So there's that I got done. And then I'm a little behind on the comic as well as other stuff. The other, I guess what we'll do is we're going to go ahead and start picking the flat vector. I just want to see this top layer. But we've gone ahead and imported the layers that my wife drew, and we're going to go ahead and just kind of like illustrate throughout. This is the flats from the previous page, not the final, but the flats themselves. And we're going to go ahead and do a similar thing for this spread. And I pulled up these consistent on this main character. And yeah, that's where we should basically be getting to. So let's go. There's a couple things I want to think about. So like, for instance, what I want to look at here is I think these areas that they're standing in are obviously going to be like green. I think that the area around the tree uh, might be green, but then that round area around it could be kind of like sand. And maybe that top part could be sand, and then we'll have a skyline. So that's basically what we're going to get done right now, just to kind of make sure we're staying somewhat consistent with this illustration. So let's start. Again, the style that we're working in, it starts out as very flat, and then we import it up, and then do the rendering and stuff like that in Photoshop. It's a pretty like bright green color for the green, and we'll just kind of see where it gets from there. I think Haiti, the main character, can be, yeah, I think pretty good space here. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and start this off. I know that there's actually going to be text in this area as well, and that'll be stuff I work on off screen because I don't want to give away the story that we're working on currently. What we're going to do is go ahead and just make flat shapes for each area and just kind of work from there. How are you doing? So I've been on a bit of a job hunt as well for like freelance and other stuff. I'm kind of pursuing other options as well in regards to, you know, the pitch that we're going to be putting out there and stuff like that. But for those of you who don't know, I recently left my position as a full-time art director, and I've just been on a bit of a job hunt lately. So what what I might end up doing, because I haven't gotten a ton of bites, most of what I've heard so far is just like the typical kind of overqualified stuff, where you get to this point in your career where, you know, people basically don't trust that you're going to work like a lower level because they know their level position comes along, you'll leave, which is not a bad read, but it makes for a very frustrating job search. And so right now, what I might end up doing is I've gotten all my ducks in a row. There's something I did years ago that I'm very thankful I did, which is I took a test called the CBEST, which basically once you pass that, I did this like back in like 2005 or something. But once you pass that, you're basically eligible to teach, and that's a fallback. Hunting for other work, I think that'll at least be a source of some kind of steadier income in the meantime. So I might end up subbing. And then I think there's a potential sub to full time sort of scenario at a local high school. It would be a short commute, and I'd be able to kind of still eat dinner with my kid, which was part of why I wanted to leave. I art directed. I just barely saw my son because I just had like this insanely long commute. And I did it for about 10 years, and it just kind of wears on you after a while. But now what I'm going to be basically doing is potentially being a substitute teacher for a little bit. I'm going to go. I went ahead and took there's like a bunch of stuff you have to do, like a TB test, just to make sure you don't have tuberculosis, which is pretty reasonable. You don't want to send your kid to school and have them get tuberculosis from a teacher. So I had to take a TB test, get my resume in order, get my official transcripts, which they want like C or something like that. So I have that all set up, and I'll be turning all that in on Friday and probably start doing that on the side of all this other stuff. One of the things I used to about full time work that I like is I like having something steady enough to where when I get home, I can just focus on personal projects. and that has not changed. That's still a thing that I really dig. That hasn't changed significantly, and so I think that that's something that I'm going to be kind of taking care of that like basic stuff, so that when I am, say, like working on the script for this pitch, or getting Not Death But Love's the strange supernatural story of Elizabeth Barrett Browning, getting that wrapped up, so that basically able to just and see where things lead from there. So yeah, so that's kind of the plan, and we'll kind of see how that pans out. Uh, I think like half of the challenge with that kind of thing is there's like a mind game where you kind of have to try to keep optimistic and positive when you're searching for this kind of stuff. Let's see how this is looking so far. So right now we're just doing some flats and getting some basic ideas here. I don't know if I like I kind of like the idea of this being darker here, because I kind of think that would be more effective if that was darker. Let's find out. Yeah, I think that reads a little better. And all we're doing right now is just getting flat colors laid in there, so that when we translate, we can then do some more kind of wild stuff with shading and all that kind of stuff in Photoshop. So anyhow, it's going to be interesting to see. It's a new chapter of of my life, which I'm actually kind of excited about, because it was time for a change. Um, and whether that change was going to happen, immediately, or like lead to better things, it kind of doesn't matter, in the sense of I was just kind of done where I was at. So I'm excited though. We have an Artcasters tonight with Richard Fairgray. He has a Kickstarter up for one of his 10 billion comics that he manages to do. He's an insanely productive somebody I admire a lot. We had him on quite a bit ago, and it should be fun to get into a long conversation about comics and kind of changing things up and thinking outside of the box. I'm excited to get back on the horse and get back to work, because again, like, nothing less fun than getting sick, especially when you have a lot to do. It can be a little frustrating, having sickness just kind of come and mess things up. They also distinctly said they wanted the tones of the green to be a little different for the golf course, so I'm going for more of like a yellowy green, and then we'll kind of see where we get from there. I think now I'm going to do the flats for the tree here, and I like the idea of it almost being like reddish. Let's find out if that's a little too much. And then we're going to also figure out these roots a little better than they've been figured out here. So the way they're kind of connecting would be good to kind of work out. And again, I'm going to draw outside of what's been provided here by my wife, and then we'll kind of see where we get from there. These also shouldn't be getting wider at the top, so I'm going to be correcting that a little bit, because branches don't tend to get thicker toward the top of the thing. Anyhow, so I think today should be pretty good, though. I basically just need to do these flat colors, and then I'm still waiting for approval from my t-shirt client on the first of what will be 4 illustrations. But I feel like that we have like 2 spreads here that I can work on. And so that's what I'm going to be working on today, probably all the way to Artcasters, which will be at 9 o'clock tonight. So we had switched Artcasters temporarily to kind of accommodate Corey Kerr's schedule, where we were doing it on Sundays, and now we're going to be switching back to Thursdays, at least for the time being. And so I think tonight's Artcaster should be a really good one. But yeah, man, getting sick just kind of took a lot out of me. And it wasn't like a bad sick. It was just like an exhaustion, sore throat, upset stomach, all the kind of basic stuff. Yeah, kind of used to it as a parent. That being just kind of like a byproduct, like especially the beginning of the school year. Your kid's gonna get sick. You're gonna get sick. If you guys have not yet had kids, just know that that's just an inevitable byproduct. And right now, what we're going to do is just kind of pick a tone that's a different green. I'm going to go ahead and pick a different green for the, like a deeper green for the tree. And then I think we're actually pretty close to done with this background. You guys will see once I bring this into Photoshop how substantially different it's going to look once we do the detail, which I tend to do for this style. We're going for like a little golden book kind of style, and so in this case we're doing a look that has like a lot of dither brush on it, and then a little bit of kind of a pencil-y line over that dither brush, you know, which is makes for like this really kind of retro looking, interesting kind of vibe. I also want to do the sky in a similar way to what we did for the other, which again, I'll look at my flats, which are not the final illustration for the cover, but the flats are just the flats that we did before kind of taking it into Photoshop. I also like this kind of being a little bit off. There we go. And then we'll just sort of, again, like we're kind of going outside of the box here. Okay. Now I don't like this. This is too light. So I think what I'll do is we're going to bring it a little darker. But I want it to be, yeah. And then I think we might do just a little bit more of a brown here, just so that, but I want to make sure there's kind of a contrast in the brown, which right now it doesn't look like much of a contrast. So I think maybe this needs to brighten up just a little bit. There we go. So we have a more visible contrast of color. So again, this is just like a really sloppy background that we're just flatting in there. And let's see. Do we want to do the sky? I like the idea of the sky being kind of a blue in this case. With so maybe we'll steal that blue a little bit and just saturate it just a tiny bit more. Bring it to a little bit more of a cyan, and maybe that can be our sky. Let's check out our line work. Okay. There is one little spot that I missed too that we're going to add in a second. So again, I think this needs to be a little bit brighter. And we're going to have the indication of light kind of coming over this. So maybe this will be like, can be the sun here. And we'll do some rays in a little bit. And then again, I like that swirly thing we did with the cover. So maybe we'll do something similar, but with kind of more brazen, let's see. This is going to be a really subtle sky once we do the colors with it. But I like the idea of maybe we do some like clouds. That are just real bubbly clouds. And again, you know, nothing like too crazy. Understanding that this is just a base and we're going to do some color over that. I also like the idea of this being more of a little bit more subtle. And then maybe this is like slightly lighter. That way we have a little bit of a base to work with. And then similarly, like I think we can do like another cloud. Do like another cloud over here. And again, a lot of this is just going to get blown out with like white dither brush. So this is just a basis of flat. So you want to think of this as almost like at this point, all I'm doing is laying down just like flat base color. Almost like you were just painting. Like if you were doing a painting, this is like your base coat. I don't know if that makes sense, but it doesn't need to be impeccable, you know. I don't like the design of that because it's creating a bit of a tangent. So I think what we'll do here is just reduce this so it's a little slimmer and try to kind of make more of a designed placement here. So maybe it's making like a swoop of some sort. And I think that's going to do it for our background flats. So I'm going to go ahead and call this background flats. And then I think we'll do our animals. So again, it's a little sloppy, but that's kind of what we're gonna get here. Okay, so I want to pull the colors from. Let's see what animals are repeating from the cover. I'm gonna go ahead and save this as. We'll just call this 0 and 1. So I also want to have the cover color here. So like kind of like I have my animals here. Probably do that. Oh, there was one spot that I missed too. So I don't think any of the other animals are used on the cover. Did we have any of these other animals? I don't think we had the rabbit, the mouse, or the squirrel. I think there wasn't a rabbit, mouse, or a squirrel. Yeah. Okay, cool. So it's completely new color, which should be kind of cool. So here's Hattie. We're going to go ahead and select Hattie just so that we're using consistent color palettes. I'm going to go ahead and put Hattie on their own layer. And then what we're going to do now is basically start working out the flats here. So Hattie's going to have a lot of these shapes. A lot of the colors are already dictated for us, which is great. At least in theory. So I'm going to go ahead and do just the flat shapes behind Hattie. And we'll start with Hattie. Hattie's the name of this animal. And I'm trying to kind of stick to the shapes that my wife already drew because they're really adorable. And I think for the base here, it might be good to have like a brighter color. But I like that has like a little wonk there. And I kind of want to honor the sketch. Is that going to be different enough from Hattie's color, though? maybe we do this as a darker, just so there's like a separation. Okay. And again, I'm just going to use the I'm just going to be using the pen tool to just kind of get these basic shapes, right? So there's a couple things here. One is this is going to be potentially good, but what we want to do here is probably differentiate our grays just slightly, even if it's very mild differentiation. That way we can, when we get to rendering, just have a bit of a better thing going. Do another one of these, but this one is going to be sort of rounded. And then again, we're just kind of doing these cutouts to just sort of signify, areas that we'll eventually have more detail for. And I think this one maybe will get a little darker. And maybe this one's that mid tone. How's everybody doing this morning? I hope you guys are working on something cool. And I think that'll get us a little bit further there. So we have the main character's kind of golf bag there, just the flats. We're going to go ahead and save. And right now I'm going to get some coffee. So we're going to put on the trailer by Jim Lujan. Let me know what everybody's working on in the meantime. And if you haven't yet, hit that like button. That way this finds other people. All right. Here is the trailer, for the latest trailer from Jim Lujan promoting both of my books, which you should purchase if you haven't.
We know the Georgia kids say the craziest thing.
So, little Susie, do you have any brothers or sisters? I understand you're in 3rd grade. How do you like that? Do you like your teacher? You like to do a lot of fun things at school? You got any hobbies, Susie? Any things you like to do when you're not in school? I hear you like to read.
Well, right now I'm reading 2 stories written and illustrated by Joshua Kemble. It grapples with faith and mental illness. It's ultimately a story about redemption. It's a savage piece of writing. Also, I just finished up Jacob's Apartment, another one by Kemble. Jacob's Apartment weaves together elements of spiritualism and relationship dynamics, as well as atheism, and all the while it deals with abandonment and loyalty. It's a fierce, fierce read.
Do you like ponies?
Welcome to my live stream, episode 320. We're working on flat colors for a kid's book that my wife and I are collaborating on. And right now we're just kind of knocking through our thumbnails, or not thumbnails, our flat colors, which will, eventually lead us to something a little further once we get to rendering, because we're doing flats in Illustrator, really trying to measure our arcs so that they're nice, clean shapes. But this affords us a little bit more sloppiness than if we were just doing it for vector. But I'm just doing my flats in Adobe Illustrator, and then I'm going to import them into a Photoshop file, which we will then render and kind of finish with. And so I'm just pulling my flat colors from the cover because I do want my colors to be relatively consistent with my characters. So it'll be interesting to see. I've never, I've taught college and stuff like that. Nice. Debbie Renault said, I hope I pronounced your name right. They said, I'm cleaning up my line art. Nice. So I've never substitute taught before. I have taught college because I have an MFA. And so, but I've never, I don't have a teaching credential yet. I might work on one eventually for high school. But the thing is, I enjoy teaching art, and I just think actually it might be kind of a cool pathway for something that's local. Because the problem with adjuncting is if you're adjuncting at different colleges and stuff like that, looking for tenure track, it really helps if you're local. And where I live, there's really just one JC. And so, if adjuncting classes open up or whatever, I could do that, but it's very limited. And the thing I like about the idea of potentially, I might even work on, a high school credential, like a CTE credential, since I have over 20 years of experience doing art professionally. That might just be the kind of full-time gig I might go for. Cause I'm pretty tired of working in commercial art outside of just fun stuff like this, like doing books and things like that. But the kind of working in house somewhere, it'd have to be a really good place to kind of appeal to me at this point. So that's going to be an interesting thing to see how that works out and what that experience is like. If it's a horror show and it's awful, I don't know. I know that it literally was before I got my MFA, when I got my BFA, one of the first things I did was take that test, just so that I'd have subbing as a backup plan, just in case, And I'm kind of glad I did because it is better. I guess it's better than rocking some job I really don't want to work. So I don't know. Anyhow, so that's one thing that's going on. Let's see here. I'm very excited about getting further on Not Death But Love, The Strange Supernatural Story of Elizabeth Barrett Browning. It's a really cool book. I'm very excited about it. And the idea of the idea of being able to work on it's very exciting to me right now. I think I'm going to do this as a separate shape. So that arm is actually going to be just a shape on top. But we'll kind of make this work in a second. So what we're doing right now is just getting the basic shape of this character, the basic flats. I know they look like strange shapes right now, but it'll kind of make sense as I get into it a little more. I think I did that shape on the wrong layer. Did I? Okay, I didn't. That's good. So this one is going to be right here. And then this we can move to the front. Let's see. Oh, you know what? I'm going to have to do a little bit of a modification here. That needs to move here. That's going to work a little better. And then this can move back here. There we go. Now we have that kind of working. We're getting there, guys. The tummy is going to have its own of this character is going to have its own color. Because again, we're being consistent. Oh, okay. Debbie said Reno is the correct pronunciation. It's French, if that helps. Thank you. That helps a lot. I hope I got it right that time. So it's Reno, Reno, Nevada, or Reno. Now I'm I don't know if I'm butchering it again. I hope I get it right. So there's this cute little tummy of this character here. We'll get that taken care of real quick. Reno. Okay, got it. Reno. Got it. So Debbie Renault. Got it. I'm really bad with pronunciation. I'm really bad with names, honestly. It's funny. My wife named a lot of the fish different Japanese names because she's half Japanese and can speak really fluent Japanese, and constantly tries to help me pronounce the names of our fish. And I just I can't, I just can't get it. I can't get it right. So I just kind of go with what I best do, and that's going to be my best attempt. But quite often it just ends up being like, yeah, the big goldfish, because I'm really awful with names. That will be one of the biggest problems. That was always one of the biggest barriers for me with even teaching college, is how bad I am with names. There's little workarounds and stuff like that, but that's it. Just takes it, I don't know what it is. It might be the kind of more autistic part of my personality, but I'm really bad with names, and remembering names, pronouncing names, all of that. But I just kind of own it. It is what it is. It'd be good if I could get better at it. Let's see here. Okay, we have this little shape here for this character. It's kind of going here, kind of goes all the way there, and then down to here. Oh, wait, there's a little bit of a allowance for, okay, so that's going to be this shape and color. Debbie said, it's okay. I grew up with people screwing up my name. Yeah, I mean, so did I. A lot of people have so much trouble with Kemble because it's an irregular, spelling of a name that's pretty common, which is Campbell. So a lot of people would just, assume it's Campbell, even though it's Kemble. Or, go as far as to make it Kremble, which I've made into a joke on this stream. So here we're going to do just a little bit of the interior of this ear, getting a little further. I want to do a flat for this arm. And we're just kind of piecing together. The approach to this would be a lot different if we were doing something with more clear line art. But in this case, we're doing a more kind of little golden book look where there's not going to be as much line. And where there is line, it's going to be very minimal and almost like pencil sketched over. So since we're kind of doing this more in flat color shapes, it's it's going to be approached a little bit differently, but we're getting there. Let's see. Yay, we got our character kind of working out. We're starting to get there, guys. Okay, there is going to be a little bit of a eyeball here, so let's get that eyeball. And again, the nice thing about this is it's a relatively quick way of working, strangely enough. And it's really fun collaborating with my wife because she's a really good cartoonist as well. And so it's kind of fun doing finals over art that it's I didn't have to labor over the drawing. But I still, a lot of this kind of stuff I used to do in-house for educational companies quite a lot. So this kind of thing I can do relatively fast. Especially when you have that basis of the line drawing already there. It's this is super quick work. I do want to have this a little more fixed. Okay. And then I think the other details we're going to be adding in later. So we just need, okay, let's get this mouth any of the stuff that's line, we're going to add later. And yeah. I've been enjoying these kind of more chill streams, especially after being sick for a little bit. Like sometimes it's fun to do really spicy streams and stuff like that, but there's definite times where like today I'm not in the mood to get like spicy about things. I just want to work on art, you know, like and I think providing occasional like non-spicy streams is good for everybody anyway because I mean heck, like how many of us are in the mood to be like getting into it, you know, like every single day. And there's definitely things where, hey, I don't mind getting into it, but today was not one of those days where I was like wanting to get real thick into anything. I don't like that tone of the tongue. It just seems like off. So I wonder if we go darker or if we go like less saturated or maybe a nice mixture of both. And maybe in this case, maybe we go just a little bit lighter, less saturated, a little bit down, just so there's a clear value shift still. I kind of like that. All right, we're getting closer. And now we just need our little thing of Hattie. Hattie has this thing here. So we're going to go ahead and get that in there. It's like the little vine rope that Hattie's using. It's actually kind of cute that this character has this little vine rope. And we're going to go ahead and just get that in there. That shape. That'll be in the back. And then this shape should be right here, coming through all the way to the neck. And that's going to get just a little bit, like there's a couple little details here where we want to get that rope kind of element. And then the rest is like one smooth line. So there we go. And this one we can just paste over here. Again, like maybe I can grab these and paste them on top. And then we just have the one little bit left. And then the rest of the colors are free for all because I can kind of dictate them. The characters haven't been illustrated yet. And so we have completely new characters with completely new color palettes. Should be a lot of fun. And I'm wondering, yeah, I think this will be like here. There we go. And we'll go ahead and paste this on top. I don't like how wobbly that is. So we're going to clean that up just a little bit. There we go. And there's one other thing, which is, I think this should be, yeah. Let's do this back further. And this a little bit here. There we go. Ta-da! Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and group Hattie. We'll go ahead and get rid of the previous one, which is nice. And then we just have to do these little characters. I think there was one little spot that I missed on the other that I want to get in there, which is there's a little spot here that I think could be another sand spot, which might be nice for kind of solidifying this. So let's go ahead and correct that real quick and get that little sand spot in there. And I want that sand spot to be kind of underneath, or at least to this shape. So there we go. Okay. Now we have our character right there. And we're going to go ahead and save. And we'll get into another character in a second. So I think what we'll do is save what we have here. Again, these are just flats. So we're going to kind of work our way through the flats and kind of see where we can get from there. Let's play another trailer. This one will be for Jacob's Apartment, my graphic novel, which you guys should consider picking up. And then we'll get into flat coloring, let's say this squirrel guy, which is a really cute little squirrel. All right. So here is the trailer for Jacob's Apartment. Clearly it seems that only in dreams can we see these things we've seen and walk around breathing things. I don't know the part to play in this heart of mine. There's dissonant things, they split at the seams. Okay, so we're going to do a squirrel first. Let's see, for the colors of the squirrel, as corny as it is, I think I'm going to look up a squirrel just to make sure I'm getting it kind of close. So, and that's a pretty good one, actually. I kind of like this one because this gives me, you guys will see what I'm talking about in a second. Doesn't need to be a great image. It's just to like have reference for the color. I kind of like this lighter squirrel. So we're going to go ahead and put that here. Let me go ahead and move that to its own little reference page or whatever. Let's go ahead and get our layer, make a new layer. We'll just put him here. So that I have like some rough idea of how to do the squirrel here. So I think what we're going to do is, I like that kind of lighter yellowy color. So let's try to work from there and see where we get. Okay. So the squirrel, we're going to do that broader shape. Let's just start, in this case, let's just do the full shape of the squirrel. And then we'll use that like outer edge of the outline to kind of cookie cut the other colors from, because it's kind of a basic shape here. And we want to do it nice and smooth. And we'll adjust the color accordingly, because I think this might be a little too peach. And get those little toes. Little tiny leg there. And I think this has like a little bit of a bit there. Get those little toes again. And this is going to be the interior kind of like, so when you open a book, there's like a title page on the inside. This is like the little title page. So we have the cover kind of knocked out. Now we're just kind of working on the title page. And then there's going to be a full spread after this that I haven't had a chance to look at, that I'm going to try to work on tonight as well. And I think this stream in particular, I'm going to go till about 12. And then I got to, again, my wife's sick. So I'm going to be, and my son's sick. So I'm going to be I'm going to make my kid some lunch. And maybe even give him some of his makeup work that I think his aunt dropped off for him so that he doesn't get super behind in school. So there we go. We have our little squirrel. I think this needs to be just a little bit more kind of, I think like that works a little better. Well, let's do like a darker color for the squirrel's tail. So that'll be where we go there. Just a little bit of a darker color. And I'm kind of thinking actually that arm might be put over again. So let's just do the tail real quick, which I think would be kind of here to here. And we'll get that tail as like a flat shape over it, cookie cut it out. And let's get our squirrel's face going to be like a little bit even darker of a color. So maybe that's like this for the nose. It's a funny little squirrel face that my wife drew here. And I think the squirrel's going to have kind of a white face, maybe, like a little bit. So it's going to get a little brighter in the area of the face here. So you might even do like a little bit lighter for the face. Face is going to go here. So that's going to be like a shape here. We kind of connect over. And again, we're just kind of drawing through. And then here. And then here. To be kind of like that. And then we'll do cookie cut it out. And the tummy is going to be like wildly brighter than that. So, because there's this spot here. And we'll just do everything but the arm. I'm not super worried about because we have to kind of redraw the arm shape. The arm on my left, I think it's the squirrel's right arm. But we don't really need to worry too much about underlapping that because we're going to have to draw that again anyway. I think maybe just a little bit. Let's see here. Let's do like a slight bit lighter, just a tiny bit. And we can just kind of cut and paste that in there. And we got our squirrel. We're getting there, guys. As slow and steady as this is. I want to use the same like area for the white of the eyes of the squirrel. So I think we'll do, because again, when we get in there with rendering, we'll add white over this, so it'll be like almost like blue shadow. Might be a little too blue now, looking at the values of the rest of the squirrel, but we'll kind of find out. Did we Okay, I knew I drew that squirrel's little nose. So there it is. I think we're actually getting there. Okay. And then we were going to do, maybe we'll do like a similar tone for the mouth. So the squirrel's mouth can be like almost like the same color as our little groundhog. And then this can be the tongue. Now we're getting closer. We just have one arm to go. So let's get this arm. And this will be useful when it comes to doing the little golfing clubs. And once we get that, that should set us up pretty well. We can just do this for the cookie cutter again. And that can be over this. Oh, should be over this, which this should be over this. There we go. Getting closer, guys. And the one thing I want to think about is maybe we do just a slight bit of an interior to these little ears. Okay. Let's see how that looks. I don't even think we need those interiors. I think we can do that with okay. Now we just need our black, and I think we're good to go. So our black for the eyeballs, which will be a bit of a free transform kind of thing to make it more cartoony. And I think here too we might do just a bit of a free transform. Okay. Now we're going to do our shape, cut it out, shape, cut it out. Now I think we have most of the squirrel done. Let's see. How's it standing out? The only problem is I wonder if that's like, does the squirrel need to go just a little bit darker just to stand out against that that background, you know? Maybe a little lighter. I just want there to be like a value shift, you know, like a clearer value shift so that we're kind of working with a similar thing so it stands out a little better. Okay, I think that works. I think we need our okay, let's go ahead and do our golfing club. And then we'll kind of continue from there. So the golfing club's going to be here. Got it. Okay. Now we're going to do this on the stomach so that it kind of fits in that layer. And then I think we'll do a similar thing with so this is going to be the little like log golfing case that they're carrying, which is kind of cute. And this is going to be pulling from the color of Hattie's. And then similarly, like we can do like a darker tone for the dark here. Which I actually like that it's almost a little off. That's kind of cool. And then we'll do these little sticks that are holding it up, whatever those are. We'll have to do those as well. Almost as like their own little thing. And then we'll do the golf clubs using the same grays as the other so that we can kind of get through this little squirrel dude. And again, like this is pretty cool because like we'll be done in no time with the flats and then we get into the fun stuff, which is the rendering. Rendering is usually kind of the funnest thing. So I'm excited about that. I don't even know if funnest is a word. I've always had trouble with that word. Like, I don't think that is an actual word. I think it would be more fun would be the proper way to say that. But if you guys are watching and you're grammar police, just let me know. Like, turn on the grammar police siren and, you know, let me know what's proper there. Okay. Woohoo! All right. I think we have our squirrel kind of done. Now we just need to do the other characters. One of them's a tiny little mouse. There is like a little thing here that I'm going to go ahead and pull color again. So I think that'll be here. We're going to do our color for our little acorn here. And we'll just do that as 2 colors. And I have no idea why that's going to that gray. It shouldn't be gray. Okay, there it is. Why is it going to gray? Okay, we'll just copy it. I think it was just that was the last one. Okay. So let's do our little acorn here. And then we're going to do our little acorn top, which will be a little more like here. And that'll go below. Okay, we got our acorn done. And now we're going to do our mouse. Now, what kind of mouse would we have here? Like a field mouse, I guess? Let's see. Field mouse. For color, we're going to do a field mouse. So let's do a little. Let's get that in there. A little reference. And we can kind of put that on the same layer as the other reference. I'm going to put that right here so I can kind of see that for the mouse. And now we're going to do our mouse. And we'll see how that kind of comes along. Hopefully you guys are having a good, productive day. This mouse is going to be super cute to illustrate, I think. And this one's like a very simple shape, so it should go a little bit quicker. But I think it's a really cute shape. And since this is like a long tail, one tip I would give on like using the pen tool is you kind of, if you can manage, you want to kind of keep your points as minimal as possible. So like in the case of this, it might be good if, you know, I'm kind of not exceeding the amount of points needed to kind of make that arch. I think that little foot will be easier to do in its own shape. And go ahead and get our little character's arm here. And his little chest separated from his other arm. And I think he needs to be like a little bit less bright, but I like that tone quite a bit. So our little field mouse. And then he's going to have, well, let's get his other arm real quick. And again, like this, you know, client is pretty fun. You know, we're going to do a full book of this. So I'm a couple days behind where I needed to be because of being sick, but hopefully this will give us time to, this is like a good catch-up day. The dad in me wants to make a ketchup joke now. It's International Ketchup Day. Okay, so we have, we're going to get the little toes here. I think it'll be a little bit deeper and a little bit more pink. Let's see if that works. Maybe we need to go even darker. Okay, let's see if that works. Kind of works, but I think it does need a, now I do think it needs to go a little lighter and maybe more toward the pink. Okay, so let's do our ears. Okay, I think the tail is going to be like that pink stuff too. So do our tail here, almost like a little part. And from there, we'll go in and do our other ear here. I really like the shape of this ear, so I don't want to mess it up. I think it's pretty nicely drawn. That's a good one. And then let's see. So the little paws are probably going to be that pink as well. Do the paws get pink or do they stay? Looks like they kind of get a little pink. So maybe we'll do that. And then when we get to our final execution or whatever of it, then we can, add a little bit of gradation between the paw and the, so it's less severe of a transition there. But right now we're just getting those flats in. So I think even here, and I think there will be, what else can we do here? Okay, so then we need the interior of the ears. I think is going to be fundamental. Yeah, okay. The interior of the ears is going to kind of go like that. And then I think here it'll be more like that. Cool. We're getting there. Getting our little mouse in there. And then the mouse's nose is going to be like real bright pink. So it's going to get like a little more. Cool. There's our little mouse nose. And now we're going to do our eyeball. And again, we're using that same eyeball color here. I think we're doing kind of like almost its smiling kind of eyeball there. And then I think we'll do black. Even though you don't see the whites of the eyes on a mouse, it would be probably a little strange for it to just be a black eye. So we'll just kind of cheat it a little bit. And I think we're getting closer. We just have to do the golfing club for this one. And this golfing club is going to be here. Kind of connect it here. I think the golfing club will actually go kind of behind. So there. Boom. Golfing club done. Now we just have their little wood golfing thing. And now I'm kind of curious if, yeah, so the stick on this, I like the idea of that actually being done with line because it is really cute as like a tiny one because it's a mouse. So I think we'll do that with line. We'll wait to kind of do that when we're able to with line. And then we're going to do our golf clubs again. This time we'll pick that.
Josh,
Yes.
just so you know, Hattie's golf clubs are made from twigs. Okay? So don't color them metal.
But they were colored metal on the cover. Uh-huh.
Anyway, they're made from twigs.
Okay. So then we have our other club here. And here. And this one should probably be the same as this one. What's going on here? There we go. And then why is that going to multiply? That should be on normal. Okay, and then we have one more to go, and I think we're good. We have one more little golf club here. And there we go. We got our okay, we have our little mouse. So our little mouse is there. We're going to group that. We'll group this. And we have one more character to go till we're done with our flats. And that should be pretty exciting. So let's see here. Okay, we have a rabbit left, and then we'll be done with our flats for the page, and then we'll be able to go on to rendering. So what we're going to do right now is put on another trailer. This one is Jim Lujan's Wordzoid trailer for both of my books, which you should consider picking up, especially if you want to support independent artists.
Well, Peter, since I'm such a big music fan, I'm gonna have to go with Karen Carpenter. Oh, Stu, I'm sorry. That's the incorrect answer. Trish, what you got for us?
I'm gonna go with Kim Gordon.
All right, let's check that answer. Kim Gordon. Do we have a Kim Gordon?
Yes, and that means you're our new Wordzoid champion, Trish. Dale, tell Trish what she's won. Trish, you've won a copy of 2 stories, a memoir of faith and mental illness. Handwritten, hand-drawn, and handed to you by artist and writer Joshua Kemble. But wait, that's not all. You've also won a copy of Jacob's Apartment, the story of a doomed romance. What happens when you take Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind and put it in a blender with Ghost World? You get Jacob's Apartment, written and illustrated by Joshua Kemble. Trish, thank you for playing Wordzoid.
All right, great job, Trish. I was told I was gonna get a lifetime supply of paper towels.
Okay, here we go. So we're just doing some flat colors first in Illustrator, and then we're going to take these into Photoshop and render them. So let's see here. I've been told that these golf clubs are supposed to be, I think, twigs. So we might have to change the color of the golf clubs on the cover as well. And I'm not sure. I think right now what we'll do is kind of work with what we've got and then do a color fix toward the end. That way all the colors are consistent. Let's see here. Okay, so now I want to look at the rabbit. So we're going to look up a jackrabbit, I'm guessing, is what this would be. No, that's not a jackrabbit. That's just a standard rabbit. So we'll just look up a rabbit. And maybe this rabbit can be like a white rabbit?
Josh, let me show you my photo reference really quick for the rabbit.
Okay. Because we have a little mouse, we have a little thing, and then my wife is going to show me the rabbit reference.
I think he's kind of brown mostly, but let me get
Because if he's brown rabbit, then like would this work? Okay. So my wife is getting the reference for that real quick. On which screen?
My screen.
Okay, so he's like. So he's like this. Okay, I kind of see. Okay, so I'll use this one then. Yeah, he's like a speckled. Got it. Okay, so we're gonna.
Thumper.
I think this is pretty
But,
good.
like, yeah, brown.
Yeah.
But more brown gray. I wouldn't use.
Okay.
Because there's a lot of.
Of brown. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. Okay. So we'll use
So cute.
something. We're getting there. We're getting there. My wife and I are working on this. This is my wife who's the
I
illustrator.
Wait, let me see that mouse reference. I think that might be the same one that
Nice.
that I grabbed. Okay. Well, anyway, I have tons of other stuff on my computer. If you're ever
Oh, I think I'm
curious
good.
or you don't know or whatever, just
Yeah.
please ask me because I know I'm sick, but I have. In fact, I'll just leave this folder open if you ever. I have even color reference.
We are totally good. We're gonna get into rendering in like a minute, so you are doing great. It's my wife who's the artist. I think that what I'm gonna do is keep the golf clubs like this gray, and then when it comes to rendering, that way I can do the color swap on all of them at once.
Anyway, I even did a rough color of the animals too. So if I don't think I.
Do you want to see this, Mai, real quick, just to see what you think about the like?
Sorry.
If I go with this, it's like
More gray.
so more desaturated.
Not necessarily desaturated, just that's a pretty little bit more gray. Oh, wait, this is the flat, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. I like that.
Okay, and then he'll be like a little more white on his color. Okay. My poor wife. She's dealing with the sickness I had all weekend that put me way behind. I pretty much was like sleeping the whole weekend because of that. So it's not a fun one. I think the details on this are going to be a little more white. And then we'll do a lot more kind of like line work to just do a little bit of fur when it comes to the line art.
I'm going to go back and lie down, but please wake me up if you have any questions.
We're good. We're good. My wife is very sweet. She's like all concerned and like, wake me up if you need any details or anything. She's a very sweet collaborator. I've worked with other collaborators that could care less. So it's kind of nice to have a collaborator who cares. She's a really talented kids book illustrator. If you guys are ever bored, you can look up Kemble on Amazon and see like one of the 50 million books that she has illustrated on her own. And this book, because of the client and what they wanted, it seemed like a good one to collaborate on. So my wife and I are doing this one together. Okay. So then we have most of the rabbit flatted out. I think what we'll do here is similarly, I think the rabbit's going to have like almost the same pinks as the little mouse. So we'll see if those work. But the rabbit's face is definitely going to be like this kind of brighter tone. So let's do our this and then like much brighter. And we'll see if this works for the face. So the face and the chest probably. So I'm guessing we'll do our business here where we have it kind of connecting there. And then similarly, like this arch, and then this kind of go in here, and this go in here. And then we'll do our oh, the head was already separated. Cool. So in this case, we'll do our, okay, good. Do our cutout. I don't know if I like that tone. I think the rabbit should be more gray. I think we're going to get a little more gray with the rabbit. See if that works better. I think the rabbit should be much more gray. So let's do like, maybe I'm crazy there, but I think that works better for the rabbit. It should be like much more clearly gray. And then here we'll do like a lighter tone. Then I think we'll do for the, then we'll do the pink. So the pink will be for the ears, the interior of the ears, which can be here. And the interior of the ear, that'll be here. Can kind of go all the way over to here and here. And then we'll do our, I think everything else is good. The rabbit's little tail maybe could be a little bit brighter. And then we can kind of transition that color using the dithering brush once we get to our rendering. I think that actually works a little better. Yeah, that's way cuter, I think, with the rabbit being kind of more gray. And then we'll do, again, we'll borrow that light here for the eyeballs, which again is just going to be like the shadow shade. A lot of this is going to be painted over with white. And then we're going to do our black for the eyes. And our black for the eyes. And then we'll just do our nose, which we can do like that, almost the same tone as the mouse, I feel. Like, I feel like that nose could be almost the same as the mouse. And then we'll do our little mouth shape. Maybe that can be the same tone as well. And there we go. I think we have our little bunny in there. So let's do our rabbit. Let's do our rabbit's little golfing club there. And I do think we're going to need to do a hand over it. So we'll just kind of replicate that and have a hand over it in a second. And let's do one of these and copy this. And now we have the hand over it. And I think we're good for flats. Almost done with our flats, which I'm pretty excited about. So it's been like an hour and 30 minutes. And we started with nothing. And now we have like the majority of the flat colors done for this illustration. So that's like how quick the flatting process goes. And I'm guessing the rendering process probably won't take much longer. So again, like sometimes like having really tight pencils, like my wife did here, it really helps like speed up the process a lot. I'd encourage you guys, if you're ever working on kids book illustrations, really spend time on the drawing, because if you have a strong drawing, the execution on top of that is usually quite a bit quicker than the drawing itself. And we'll be seeing that in a second as we kind of take this thing and bring it to life a little more. So here we're going to do more of our little golf clubs. And more of our little golf clubs. And that needs to be a little thicker. This one will be a different color. Let's get our tones there. And I think we're almost done with the flat colors for this illustration. So how cool is that? That's real quick. It's one of the reasons like doing flat color in Illustrator is a really great idea. So, okay, so now we have that done. We'll go ahead and group that. And then save. And then we're going to have to import all of these into Photoshop to kind of do our rendering. But look at that, right? We're starting pretty well. The one thing I also don't like right now is, a flaw in the original drawing that we're going to fix, which is that tangent on that hand is going to just bug the hell out of me. So let's fix that tangent. Let's make it kind of go here so that, you know what I mean? There's a little more space between that hand and the thing. I don't mind some of the other tangents kind of going on here. Although I think we could correct some of this as well. Maybe we can make this a little clearer, just to make the composition a little better on the tangent end, because we have some tangents going on, like a nice little arc and line there, but we could kind of correct it to where those tangents are like less bad. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and save this. And I'm going to go ahead and put on another trailer, and then we will go ahead and render. So here is the trailer for 2 Stories. Okay. So there's one other thing that I got to do here. So we're going to open up Photoshop now. I'm going to go ahead and turn on it, not kind of giving a dead giveaway of who the book is by or anything like that. We're going to go ahead and play one more trailer, and then we're going to do kind of importing the flat art that we just made in Vector and kind of making it work in this medium. So we'll go ahead and continue that in a second. But here is another trailer, and this will be Christopher Runciman's little shout out to us.
Hi, my name's Chris and I like comics. I want to talk about this comic for a second here. I just got this in. I ordered it direct from my local comic shop through Diamond Distributing. It's Joshua Kemble's Jacob's Apartment. I really enjoyed this book. There's all kinds of comics out there, let's be honest. There's fun comics, there's superhero comics, there's young adult comics, there's adventure comics for kids. There's so many different things under the planet. But there's also an entire subgenre of alternative books. Real life, real world depictions in comic book form. Situations that happen to each and every one of us. And this is a fine example of that. If you get a chance, order this book from your local comic shop. You won't be disappointed. I can't sing its praises high enough. Okay? Check it out. Jacob's Apartment by Joshua Kemble.
All right, so we're going to go ahead. We're going to import our Illustrator file into here, and we'll see if that works. So right now I should be able to do that and line it up. And size it and all that fun stuff. It shouldn't have changed the size, but it looks like it did. So we're going to have to kind of size it up, make sure we're kind of matching it up. There's other ways we could import it too, but I think this is the healthiest, quickest way. So we're going to kind of get everything lined up and kind of see where it goes. Okay, we're getting closer. And now, you know what? There's a problem here. I'm going to go ahead and close this out. We're not going to use this one. So I'm going to say stop. Sorry, importing vector work can take a long time too on the like right now it's frozen and I need to actually do these layer by layer, and I realized it did the flats to the animals too, and I don't want to import those. So hopefully it doesn't completely freeze, and if it does, then I'm going to have to force quit out of Photoshop, which it looks like I might have to do. Well, if we have, oh no, yeah, it's really not digging the thing. So I'm gonna just go ahead and force quit, and then we'll start over. Okay, let me re-pull this open, and hopefully that didn't affect the connectivity on here, because that definitely had some issues. Now I'm reopening the file. So just imagine that you're not seeing the title credits and stuff like that when I pull this up. In fact, while I'm pulling it up, we'll just go to full cam so we're not giving away anything from the publisher. So I'm going to reopen that, and then we'll redo our importing in like 2 seconds. So let me get everything set up again. Make sure the resolution's correct. Okay, I think it is. Okay. And now we're going to do our... Now we'll go back to viewing, Okay. Wow, that's weird. It didn't like that at all. Okay. So now our Photoshop phase. I'm going to go back to our background line work. We'll do our background sketch here without selecting the animals. And you know what we're going to do to make this simpler? We'll go ahead and crop it. That way it's like easy peasy. Why is this in? Oh my gosh. Okay, we need to do a couple things. General. Let's do guides and grids. Nope. See here. File. Document setup. That's what I need to do. This should be in inches, not pixels. That's what I need to change it to. File. Document setup. Inches. Thank you. Okay. Now do our okay, I think our artboard's all good. Now we just need to do this and correct the sizing of this. And then we're going to center it. And I think we should be good to go. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is, just to make sure we're good here, we're going to go ahead and we're going to make this kind of close out. Let's see here. And then what's the halfway point on this? Okay, so now we need our transform. Hold on. Transform, and this should be 11.125. And then we're going to do our align again. Why didn't that work? There we go. Okay. Okay. Now this is going to guarantee that we have it sized correctly. And I'm going to do the same thing here. So we're going to put like a mask here. So that way we can import our layers and we shouldn't have any issue getting it sized correctly. So now we're going to drag this over to here. And I'm not sure why that would be happening the way it is right now. Let's try that again. Drag it over. And we should be able to have this line up perfectly now. And we're going to get it over here and just make sure everything's all set up. So I think there's one little bit that it should be increasing. One little bit should be decreasing. And let's double check this edge. Should be like going right under that middle line. Are we over here? We're good over here. I think we have everything somewhat lined up, so I think that'll work. Go ahead and close this, and then let's get our figures now. So our figures, copy that, paste that, do smart objects, and that should line right up very perfectly. And I think that'll do. So now we have kind of like our setup. So I have this on our animal line work. This will take a little bit of time. But now I'm going to go ahead and save this Illustrator part. And we now kind of have the same base color for our main character. And we can kind of work from there. So pretty exciting. While this imports, let's go ahead and play another trailer because this is taking a while to import. So let's do Philip Chandler's trailer.
Hi, my name is Phil Chandler. I'm a freelance artist, illustrator, and cartoonist. Today, though, however, I want to tell you about a graphic novel I picked up recently called Jacob's Apartment. This book was both written and beautifully illustrated by Joshua Kemble. It is the story of a doomed romance that causes the main character to question his beliefs and his faith, while he's also going through other tragedies in his life. Every page has been illustrated by hand and digitally colored with painstaking detail. It is an emotional story that causes you to think and even question things in your own life. And while the story is a tragedy, it is one that I was completely entertained by and I highly recommend. You can currently find this on Amazon or even check in with your local bookstore and see if you can order it. And while you're at it, you can also check out my Instagram at Phil Chandler Arts and also my YouTube channel by the same name, Phil Chandler Arts. And go buy Jacob's Apartment.
Okay, and Photoshop right now is acting really weird, so I'm gonna quit out of my Illustrator, hoping that kind of kickstarts the libraries here, so that we don't have to redo that exact importation. And we might have to redo the import again because my computer is just being extra crappy right now. Yeah. It seems like Creative Cloud is just having an annoying issue right now. So it keeps saying waiting for libraries, which is a lot of fun. So Photoshop's just kind of chilling. We'll give it another minute. Let's play another trailer while this goes, just so you guys aren't bored while we're waiting. So let's play Jim Luhan's trailer one more time.
We know that Georgia can't say the craziest thing.
So, little Susie, do you have any brothers or sisters? I understand you're in third grade. How do you like that? Do you like your teacher? You like to do a lot of fun things at school? You got any hobbies, Susie? Any things you like to do when you're not in school? I hear you like to read.
Well, right now I'm reading two stories written and illustrated by Joshua Kemble. It grapples with faith and mental illness. It's ultimately a story about redemption. It's a savage piece of writing. Also, I just finished up Jacob's Apartment, another one by Kemble. Jacob's Apartment weaves together elements of spiritualism and relationship dynamics, as well as atheism, and all the while it deals with abandonment and loyalty. It's a fierce, fierce read.
Do you like ponies?
All right, guys, I hate to say this, but it is frozen, so I have to quit Photoshop again because of the whole Illustrator import thing, and it shouldn't be taking that long. It's kind of obnoxious that it's doing that, but we're just going to give it another shot. So let me go back here so that I can get it. And I think what we might have been doing is we just need to go one at a time. So we'll see. Then I have to reopen my flats. This is just really annoying. One of the things I hate about Illustrator and Photoshop is the vector smart object problem, where it should be seamless, but it is not. So Okay. Go ahead and turn off the credits. And then we will cancel. It's asking me, how likely would I be to recommend Illustrator? And I'm like, well, right now, because it's like Beach Ball of Dooming, like, I don't know how likely right now. Okay. I don't need to know what's new in Illustrator. Could we just have it open, please? It's just like beach balling right now. Okay. There we go. This should not be a hard task for Illustrator to do, but let's see if we can get it on a third crack. Okay. So let's go back again. Let's get to our background line work. This really shouldn't be that complex. I don't know why I'm getting beach balls every move. Let me make sure I'm quitting out of everything else too. Just, it could be my computer. Have anything else running that would be a problem? No. I think I could quit Acrobat. That would help. Okay. That's okay. So let's get back to it. Let's do our background. Let's copy it. Okay, let's paste it in here, and hopefully it doesn't like take 10 years. We're gonna paste as a smart object. Go ahead and get that set again. Don't know why, again, it's not. Okay. Just get that set up. And again, this really shouldn't be that hard. I don't know why Illustrator would be flipping out. Okay. Let's try this again. Okay. Oh, come on. Now it's saying waiting for libraries again. We could just import as like pixels to make it go quicker, but it would be nice if we could have the vector. I'm going to Google this. Waiting for libraries Photoshop vector freeze. Let's see what comes up. Okay, so it's an issue with CC. So it seems like a big problem. I love this. So there's an issue with Adobe CC. So we have to force quit again. This is something that should take 5 seconds. And instead it's having a major issue. So we're going to force quit Photoshop, and we're just going to do a different technique, which is basically, since it's having issues with vector smart objects, as crappy as it is, we're gonna just make it work with the objects that we have. Okay, so okay, I have an idea. Let's close this out. I want to see if I can do. Maybe I can open this in Photoshop. Let's see if that works. If I just open the AI file in Photoshop and it allows me to do layers, then we might be able to kind of start somewhere positive here. But we'll see if that freezes out my computer. Okay. Okay, so it didn't have any trouble with that, but it didn't give me the layers. Okay, good to know. Okay, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna open the. I have to turn it back here. So obnoxious that this really shouldn't be an issue, but Photoshop, Creative Cloud, they have trouble communicating, and it starts creating issues. So in this case, we're just gonna have to kind of work around it in the best way we can. The annoying thing is we should have been already at the point of just doing rendering at this point. But because Photoshop is kind of being all weird, let's just do pixels. Yeah, let's just do pixels. Okay. And then at least that's going to get us closer to done on what we need to do. Okay. So now it works smooth. Smooth as can be, except that we didn't want to do that. Okay. We need to do rendering here. And rendering here. Okay, now we can set it up to where it's fairly lined up to the thing. And let's make sure this is here. Oh my gosh. I'm gonna get so annoyed right now. Okay. Pixels. I don't even understand why it's not like reading the mask as I'm importing it. It's just being real buggy right now. And that's okay, but it's just frustrating because again, we did the cover and everything worked fine. But now it's like being all weird. So, okay. Oh, I should show what I'm doing. Let's see if that's working. Okay, so now we're going to move this over and we should be good for our flats here. And we will just say save. Thank goodness. Okay. This is obnoxious. Okay. So then now we're going to do our import our layer. So that's going to be under our background line work. And we'll call this background flats. I'm going to go ahead and save. And then we're going to do our foreground flats right now. And we'll do those as pixels too, since it's having so many issues. And this should go in nice and smooth, in theory. Okay. In theory, this should work. Where we can do our background line work, and then we can move our characters to line up perfectly. And I think that'll work. Let's make sure, let's try it with like the mouse. Because I think once we get the mouse kind of lined up, everything else will be somewhat accurate. So there we go. And now we have our animal line work, right? We have our background line art. Okay, great. So I'm going to go ahead and call this animals flats. So this will be called animal flats. And then I think I have to rename that layer as background flaps. Okay, now we're gonna save. And just so we have a reference for like the style, I'm gonna go ahead and close the other thing down and not save. Now that we have this, I think what we'll do is we'll pull open the JPEG so that we can kind of see what's going on here. And this is going to have a little bit of a spoiler of some of the details and stuff like that, but this will give us like ideas of where the line art should go on our characters. Okay, so now that we kind of see, we're going to go ahead and do our background illustration first. Hopefully none of this is super confusing for you guys. I'm going to go ahead and save. And then we're going to start with, let's start with the sky. We're going to do rendering on our background. So I think for the sky, I want to have, I want to do a brush. I'm going to just do a general soft round brush. Maybe we do like soft round pressure opacity. And then we're going to put our opacity at like 30%. And then we're going to do it at dissolve. And so now I'm going to make a new layer, and this will be called background shades. And here we'll do a little bit of, let's see here. Let's do like a darker shade of blue real quick. So we get our darks in first. And then we'll kind of paint over. And then we're also going to turn off our viewing, our guides. So we're going to hide. We're going to go to show and then turn guides. Oh, not edges. We'll turn off our grid. We'll turn off our show and guides. Okay. We're getting there, guys. It's just going to take a little bit of time. But like, honestly, this rendering shouldn't take too long. Okay. So I want to do like a darker blue. And I want to keep it pretty saturated. So, and I want to kind of almost like paint it so that it's like around the sun. So almost like, so I'm going to have it like kind of start darkening as it gets away from the sun. And hopefully that kind of makes sense. We're using a dissolve brush, basically. It's got like a dither texture to it that's going to make it get a little bit darker. And I just realized that the screen capture is not showing any of this. So I'm going to correct that real quick for you guys. Okay, like I said, we're using the flat to select, and then we're using a dither brush. I apologize about all the kind of finagly stuff. So now we're going a little darker for just some of the sky. And again, like I kind of wanted this to almost blow out with white. So we're also going to do white, I think. It might be a little extreme. But I like the idea of like the sun isn't even going to be that clear. It's just going to be like a little bit like it's blowing out the sky a little bit. Okay, now I want to do save, and then we're going to do our sky here. So here we're going to do we need tolerance at 0. We're going to use this selection, which right here, flat selection here, and then we're going to do like the sun, but the sun is just going to be white over it. So we're just doing a standard white. Again, I'm going to call this renders, background render. Okay, and then we'll just kind of paint over this with just white. So it's got like a little bit of a, but not much. Now we're kind of getting a little closer. And then now we're going to do the clouds. And again, on the clouds, I kind of want to select using the selection tool. And we don't even need the line art for now. And I'm going to just go back to our render. And we'll just kind of blow out. Like I really want the clouds to be almost like minor in there. I need to clean my screen. I was just noticing it's a dirty screen. So I like the idea of the clouds being kind of more subtle. And we'll just have like the white here. And then I like the idea of the clouds almost fading into the sky. So maybe we'll have like the sky tone here. So we're just seeing like some subtle clouds, you know? And maybe we go back to white again. I might be overdoing it. But I think like some white just to like, again, I want the sky to be almost, oh, what just happened there? What did we do there? Okay, cool. And I actually want to select a little bit there because there was like a little spot that we missed. And again, we're just kind of going over it with ether brush so that we're almost like using those flats to airbrush. So I like that. I actually like that a lot. We're going to save and then we'll continue. So now we'll do the tree. So we're going to do our tree here. Let's see if there's any line art over the tree. And it looks like there wasn't a lot of line art on the tree, which is kind of good to see. So I think the tree is just going to be a flat shape, and we'll see if it needs any more than that. I'll turn off the line work again. And I think in this case, we're just going to go a shade lighter on the tree, maybe even a little bit lighter. And again, we'll just go in there, and our light source is going to be kind of to the right. So we'll have like the light kind of coming in on the edge of the tree. And I think we'll do a couple passes. So we might do like three tones of value to like lighten it up. Like maybe the very edge. And maybe it goes darker too, just like one tone darker. Maybe we do that kind of overall. Again, we're kind of going for like a little golden book style. So it's like getting this little like dither pattern going. So like if you see it up close, it has like speckles, you know? Okay, now we're going to do our light tone on our tree. I don't think we should go any darker on that tree. But I do think there might be some line art. Let's see what that looked like with the line work. Okay, there is some line art that we're going to want to do. So I think we'll do the shading and then the line art over that. I think the shading will go a little bit lighter. And we'll see how we do there with the lighter shade. So I think here I'm just going to have, again, establishing that light source on the right. We're going to just kind of go in there and have it kind of lighten up a little bit. I don't know if that's actually light enough, so we might even go lighter eventually. But we're just adding like little tones of shade. And again, I have like the line work over it so that, you know, it's kind of giving me an idea of where to go with it. But I want it to go a little bit lighter even. So we have like almost like a clear like light source on this. We're just doing like one pass. So I have it at like 30%. So it's doing like a quick pass, just kind of adding that type of thing. And then I think we'll go just like one step lighter. And above this, I'm going to have this called background lines. And again, like in this case, now we're going to do our brush at a normal brush with normal opacity. And maybe we do, you know, I think happy HB or something for the brush. And now we'll kind of go to our background line, and we'll just kind of add some of the stuff that's on here and see if that works. So let's see here. Is this the right thing? Am I doing pressure sensitive? This might be the wrong brush. Hang on. Let me pick a different brush. I think we'll do, okay, we'll do this one instead. Yep, that works a lot better. Okay, so I'm gonna do just some tree lines to kind of blend, almost like the where we're seeing the lines. And I should have, ooh, did I put that on the, I put that on the wrong layer. Should also probably turn the line work down a little bit so I can kind of see more. Okay, now we'll do our actual final lines here. So again, I'm just going to have some tree textures just to kind of give it a little more more kind of like nuance to it, and kind of pull a little bit from the drawing that's below it. So I like the idea of this kind of here. Maybe this goes here. Maybe this kind of separates here. This can go through. And now we can have like some of our, you know, textures. And now let's check it out without the line art. I think that works pretty well. And now we'll just kind of add a little more to it. Okay, I kind of like that. The one thing I don't like is this transition. So now I'm going to go ahead and put my background lines layer there. I like those details. I don't like how this transition's working. So again, I'm going to go back to my rendering. So I'm going to go to my background flats. I'm going to pick this section. And then I'm going to go with my background render. And I like the idea of maybe we have almost like we gradiate, if that's a word. We're going to gradate the, we're going to put it back on dissolve, and then the opacity at like 30 again. And then we're going to gradate the green into the brown. So it kind of transitions a little more seamlessly. I think that'll make it a little bit more of a good transition here with just some of these branches, you know. So just kind of putting that over, and hopefully, you know, again, like if I need to, we can just fix it after, but I think that'll work a little better. Now that works a lot better. So now we have a pretty good tree. The only thing is now I want the tree a little darker, and I just realized we missed this whole section of tree here. So I forgot to have continuous on. That's a good thing to have on for this. And we're going to do our render to just kind of get this area worked out here. Okay, and I think that'll kind of get it corrected a little bit, and then we'll go even darker because it's just such a big flat shape. It'd be good to like have it go darker so there's more contrast kind of toward the base of the tree. And there we go. I think that'll do. I actually dig that a lot, so I think that's where we're gonna stop on that. Let's see where we're at. Okay, we're getting there. So now we're gonna do this next part, and I want to do like a light. Let's do like this darker tone first, because I don't want this to be as clear of it. Like right now, it's got clear distinctions between, and let's see the lines too. Are any of these lines essential? I think in this case, the lines really aren't. So there's not going to be any line work on this section, which is great. So now we're just going to do darker tones to just kind of show like a little bit more of the landscape here. So I'm going to do like the shadows first, and I can even hide the selection so that like I can watch what I'm doing here. I think just having like showing a little bit of the landscape and the curvature of that is going to be real helpful here. And again, like this will make more sense as we go. So then I probably want to show this curvature too a little bit. It's going to be a little more organic, so it's less of a hard line there, between where the thing is. And then we're going to do we'll do like a shade darker to this like deep shadow that we have. Kind of transition this a little better too. So that transition there can go a little smoother. And then we'll continue by doing our next tone, which is that dark tone. And in this case, we're going to do the same thing, but with the lighter tone. So we do like a little bit more of a smooth transition there. And that doesn't go much darker. So that's good. And then maybe here we'll do like, again, like select this, go back to our render, and just do like, make that a little more seamless, the way it's like blending. And then we'll go to our mid-tone, and here we'll do like our lighter shade, which, we can do real quick. So there's like some light. Are we on our render layer? We are. And then we can do our darker tone too, so that transitions a little better as well. And just these deeper areas. So we're kind of making this have like a little more texture to it. And again, like trying to get that like little golden book vibe. Okay. So now we're going to do our we're going to do the sand. I think we'll do the light source first, which should be like real close to white almost. And that'll be on our background render again. Just add like just a little bit of lighting to this, not much. It's very subtle because it's like a very light color. And then we'll do our shadow on it. which we'll do significantly darker. We can kind of see like that'll probably cast a shadow there. Might get a little darker toward the bottom. And then similarly, like right here, probably going to get a little darker toward the bottom. And then here, maybe it gets darker kind of back here. Okay, so now what I want to do is look at my animals line art. And then I'm going to do like some shadow for the animals. Over without a selection, really. And maybe we go like dark with that so that we have like some shadow where the animals are going to be standing. So that when we actually add the animals, they like look like they're actually standing in the field. Similarly, like here, just adding a little bit of shadow underneath. Doesn't have to be a lot, you know. But like once we add the animals over top, you know, that's going to add like a little more dimension and believability to the characters because they're casting a little shadow. So now we have our shadows cast and we have our characters, we have our background done. So what we'll do next is our animal line work. So documents being saved right now, and then we'll do so we have our animal flats, and I believe we're in pretty good position to actually start coloring that. So what I'm going to do real quick is play another trailer, and then we will get into finishing up this spread illustration. So here is let's do the trailer for Jacob's apartment. Speak clearly, it seems that only in dreams can we be these things we've seen and walk around breathing things. I don't know the part to play in this heart of mine. There's dissonant things, they split at the seams. All right, guys, so we are working on this illustration for a kid's book, and we are going to get into rendering these animal flats now. So I'm going to go ahead and turn the Lineworks opacity a little bit down so I can kind of see through it. And at this point, we're just going to do, I'll call this one Animal Renders. And we're going to just rock and roll using these selections to kind of make this like old school vibe. And then I think we'll add lines last. So right now we're going to do rendering on these. which should be pretty quick. Right now, I think we'll do the shadow on these little things first. So, and we have our dissolve brush already set at like the opacity of like 30. So I'm just going to do a little bit of this little shadow. Like, again, our light source is going to be on the top right. And we're just doing a little bit of shadow on these. Not a lot. And then we're going to do a lighter brown that goes just a little bit over that. Did I do this on the wrong layer? Hold on. See if there's anything else on this layer. Oh, okay, I just accidentally... Okay, this one needs to be animal renders. And we'll delete the old animal renders layer. I just accidentally made 2 layers. Okay, so now we're going to do our lighter tone. And we're going to do it like a little bit bright. And now we'll just do that on our animal renders layer. And again, you know, we're getting in there like microscopically, but it's going to show us just some areas where we can like really add like some highlights. Let me look at the line work again, just to like, maybe we want just a little bit of the texture too, right? So here we're going to do, again, just like lighten the log thing here. And it's kind of fun. It's almost like a very like loose rendering on this thing. To just kind of get that like, again, that like little golden book kind of vibe. And here similarly be really bright part of the log. And we're just kind of, it's like basic rendering, right? You just have one light source. Okay, now we're going to do our dark area, which is our shadows. And I think in this case, we'll do a little bit of the mid-tone to kind of render like the areas where it's going to get a little lighter, like here. And similarly, I don't know if I like that actually. Let's start over. I kind of want it to be like brighter here because he's still going to be casting a shadow, and then brighter here. So that actually makes a little more sense. And then this similarly, like just the tiniest bit here. This can have just the bit here just to give it a little bit of texture. And then this can have just the tiniest bit here. And we'll give these just a little bit of texture, not much. And I think we're almost good to go on that. So if I took off the line work, we're now getting a little closer. Okay. It's actually working. Okay. Now we're going to show, like, we did pull this just so we're kind of keeping consistent with the style on Hattie. So again, like, now I want to do, let's just start with, let's do like some darker shades on Hattie, the main character. Okay. Let's turn this off and get back to our line work. So, okay. So a couple things. Let's get to, okay, Hattie is going to have a little bit of light on her nose. And I think we want it to have, okay, we can kind of pull that. So, okay. A little bit of line on the nose. Let's do this and do like a brighter tone. Maybe it goes to like a almost blue. Okay, like a gray for like just a little bit of lighting. Black. And in this case, you know, I just want to give it like a little bit of dimension to that black area. And similarly, like these animals are going to have just a little bit of dimension on their eyeball. And these are just going to almost read like old, you know, airbrush or something, you know. We're going to go back to our animal flats. And again, like this isn't a style I use all the time. It's just, you know, I tend to vary in style depending on what is needed. And so, you know, that's kind of why we're doing this the style we're doing it. Is like it just kind of fit what we were looking for this book. So this is going to be white on the eye. It's going to get very bright. And then similarly, these animals, and they're going to have, you know, a lot of light tones. These kind of eyeballs. So we have like a more kind of white eyeball with a little bit of shading within it. Okay. And now we're going to do our, let's do a bit of Hattie's hat. So Hattie's hat is going to have, we're on the animal flat layer, I thought. Okay. Hattie's hat is going to have a little bit of the darker green, just in little spots that are going to kind of blend with when we do add line art. They'll kind of mesh in there. But we're not adding line art yet. And then similarly, now I'm going to do like a broader sweep to have like get a little darker toward the end. And then we're going to do a little bit of light on there. So let's do like, it's a pretty bright leaf. So I think we'll go real, maybe even lighter than that. I don't know if I like that tone. I think it needs to be even brighter than that, like a more neon-y green. Maybe that's too much. Nope, that's about right. So then this is going to be like the light source of the leaf as it kind of brightens up. And then we're going to, again, if I see it without line art, kind of works. Okay. And then we're going to do our, let's try doing this area here. And we'll do that kind of green as like here. Okay. And then I like the idea of that possibly getting a little brighter too. Maybe not. Actually, that's pretty good. Okay, so then we're going to do our deeper green, which is going to go to an even darker green. So that is going to go to like a deeper green, which we'll have on our renders. So that's going to be here, just to kind of separate that out. And similarly, like here and here, just to like, again, just kind of give a little more separation here. And then from there, we can go to the mid-tone and have like a little bit of brightness there too. Cool. So if I go back, now we have like that kind of starting to be shaded too. And we're just going to continue our way through this. And we'll add line last. Okay, so now we want Hattie's main flat area. And then again, we're going to start with, I'll probably start with like darks. So maybe a little more subtle since it's a bigger area. We'll go with like a darker area for some of the shadow, which I'd like. Maybe there's a little bit of shadow here to kind of, you know, coming off the thing. There's definitely going to be a little bit of shadow here. And now I'm going to round out Hattie's little face. A little bit of shadow here. And maybe we do a tiny bit of shadow back here. And a little on the chest. Can go to like the back. Hattie's arm. Under the arm should be a lot of shadow. I like the idea of these kind of casting shadow. This should be really darkening the fur right here. And then we can have this. And this here to kind of get it a little more rendered. Okay, so now we're going to do the light part. There's going to be a little bit of light. And that's going to go here on like the ear, probably like a highlight here. Maybe a little bit here. Definitely here. And definitely here to just kind of highlight those little spots. For sure, there will be light here on this leg. A little bit of light on the tail. And a little bit of light here. Just to kind of get that maybe a little reflected too. Okay. I like Hattie kind of having a little bit of brightness here too. Okay, now we're going to do the animal flats here. Those are going to go to much brighter for the light. The chest here, going to get a lot lighter. And then we can do just a tiny bit of darker slightly so that it's like here. And let's make sure we're getting that kind of similar. Yeah, okay, I think we're getting very similar. Okay. And here it'll be a lot darker. Here it can be kind of getting a little darker. And there we go. Let's turn off the line work. How are we doing? Hey, that's looking pretty good. Like, pretty good rendered color under, you know, flat line art. Okay, we have one thing left, which is we're going to go ahead and get the clubs. Should go a little bit lighter. So let's go here. See our animal line work again. And our clubs are going to be getting gradually lighter. This one probably lighter up here. Then let's just continue. So this one probably quite a bit lighter. This one just a little bit. And again, we're just kind of rendering these out. Seeing how far we can get here. And again, just some basic light parts. Now we're going to do the darker. It'll be a tiny bit darker. And that can go like here. And we'll just kind of continue all the way through. See how far we can get. And again, we'll just turn off our visibility. Oh, wait. A little bit more shadow here. And there we go. Look at that. Coming along. Okay. Now we just need to do the rest of the clubs. And at least we're close to done with Hattie here. So again, we'll go lighter, get those on there, paint those in. And make sure we're staying consistent with that so that it's like across the board. Lighter, lighter. And now we can do a little bit darker. Okay, and then we'll do just a little bit darker. And similarly, we're just going to rock a little bit of shadow here and a little bit of shadow here. And now we'll do the next one, which is the last, I think, of the clubs. And there we'll do, again, like a notch lighter. Go to our render layer. Notch lighter. A notch lighter. A notch lighter. And then we'll do a notch darker, which will be here. And that can be just some shadow. Some shadow. And again, this is just flats without the line over it. We'll get into the line in a second. And now we're pretty much done with the flats and the rendering for Hattie. We just need the line art over that. So it's coming along. It just takes a while. Okay, now let's get our little squirrel guy. So let's get in our animal flats and our squirrel guy, which we're going to do here. We'll get our line art. I think for our squirrel guy, you might want to have the light be like the same as the color of the squirrel. And then let's do dark, a little bit darker. Okay, and then we'll do our squirrels light area, which will be quite a bit lighter. So let's get a little bit of shadow in there. getting our lighting on our squirrel here. And then let's do just a little bit of darker. Okay, and then we'll do our squirrel's face, which I think is going to be, let's get there. Squirrel's face. We'll do a little bit lighter. Just on the render. Let's do like same color as the belly for the face, for the light. And then I think we'll do like a little bit darker for the shadow. Just a little bit. Again, this will be so much clearer when we add our little details. Did I do that on the wrong layer? I think I did that on the wrong layer. We have to undo a significant chunk of what we just did because I did that on the wrong layer. Okay. We're going to do like lighter sections. We'll do it the same color as the tummy. And then the darker sections we'll do just a little bit differently. But I think here we can kind of make that work. And we'll do this just a little bit darker. Okay, now we're going to do our tummy here, the stomach. And I think in this case, I want to have like mid-tones here of like almost the same color as the face, so it kind of blends a little more. And then we'll do our deeper tone here. So it's got like a little bit more kind of a thing going there. And then the one thing I forgot is I think we need to do our animal mouths, which I don't think I got on Hattie either. And that should be like, let's do lighter, which will be here. And then let's just continue to do those everywhere. Lighter should be a little closer to the tongue. And then let's do lighter here. And let's do darker now, which will be like deeper. How's everybody doing, by the way? I hope you guys are getting some cool art done and having fun. Okay, now we're going to do our tongue. Our tongue is going to be a little bit lighter. And the tongue, again, can be just a little bit lighter. I don't know if we need darker, but let's see. Yeah, a little bit dark doesn't hurt. Cool. Okay, guys, we're getting there. Getting there. So now we need to get in with the squirrel is done. Oh, wait, the squirrel's nose. So the squirrel's nose is going to be, we'll do the lighter again. And then we'll do the darker here. Okay. Okay, I think the squirrel's colors are done. And now we're going to do our renders for our rabbit. Let's check out the line art just to get that right. So let's do our, you know what? Let's start with this little mouse. Our little mouse is going to have renders for this that go real light. For the light. And then we'll do just a little bit darker for the dark. Okay, and let's do for the nose. Same kind of thing where we can do a little bit lighter for the light. You know what? Let's go lighter than that. Lighter for the light. Do darker for the dark. Okay, and then let's do our render of our little guy here. Here we'll go light. Actually, let's go a little bit lighter than that. Okay. Here's going to be like a brighter version of the animal. Kind of doing like a little bit of light here. And then we'll do just a little bit of shadow, which will be a tiny notch darker. And let's see where we're at. Nice. I think we got that taken care of. Now this is at 100%. I think that's working a little bit. We got our mouse. Now we just need our rabbit, and then we can get into line art. Exciting. Okay, so let's do our rabbit. Our rabbit's going to be the light, which will be quite a bit lighter. Let's do that. And then we'll do just the back here of the rabbit. Okay, and then we'll do darker, which will be here. And again, we're just kind of rendering like under the line that we're going to be eventually adding. So hopefully this works. And then we've got our flat here, and we want to go significantly brighter because it's like fluffy little rabbit. And then we want to go just a tiny bit darker. So let's go there. And let's try that out without the lines. Starting to work. We just have one little bit left, which is the nose. And we're going to go a little bit lighter on that nose. And then we'll do just a little bit darker on that nose. Cool. And then let's do just the last. You know what? That's it. We're actually done with the flat colors and the renders. So now all we have to do is start adding a little bit of line. So what I'm going to do is press play on another trailer, and then we will get back into it. So here is Jim Lujan's Wordzoid.
Well, Peter, since I'm such a big music fan, I'm going to have to go with Karen Carpenter. Oh, Stu, I'm sorry. That's the incorrect answer. Trish, what you got for us?
I'm gonna go with Kim Gordon.
All right, let's check that answer. Kim Gordon. Do we have a Kim Gordon? Yes, and that means you're our new Wordzoid champion, Trish. Dale, tell Trish what she's won. Trish, you've won a copy of 2 Stories, a memoir of faith and mental illness. Handwritten, hand-drawn, and handed to you by artist and writer Joshua Kemble. But wait, that's not all. You've also won a copy of Jacob's Apartment, the story of a doomed romance. What happens when you take eternal sunshine of the spotless mind and put it in a blender with Ghost World? You get Jacob's Apartment, written and illustrated by Joshua Kemble. Trish, thank you for playing Wordzoid.
All right, great job, Trish. I was told I was gonna get a lifetime supply of paper towels.
Okay, welcome back. Welcome to episode 320 of my live stream. I'm working on a freelance project that my wife and I are working on together. And this one is, it's basically, let's see here. So we're doing a kid's book, and I'm doing the line art now over the vectors and then the shading and rendering. So we're going to do our line work just so that I'm staying consistent. I'm now looking at the cover, particularly for this character, and how I went about kind of doing that. So now I know what I need to do. So I need to do his little, and we need to actually turn our brush back to a normal brush. And we'll go to, I believe we were using our Kyle Ultimate Pencil Hard. And at this point, I think we're good to go. So I'm just going to do little details here, like the little, let's see here. What else? Okay. And I want to do this here. And then we have a couple little things that we want to do. So his eyebrows are kind of like a dark black. So we're going to kind of use that. And again, we're just going to kind of go through this and kind of mesh as best as we can. So what we're going to do now is like a dark brown for like the details within. So I'm going to make, let's see here. Oh, and maybe we'll use a black for the other details in a second. I want to do a darker brown than that. So we're going to do okay. And I want to do all of these little nubbins here. But like we want to avoid it being too much line art. Because again, we're kind of using this to have like the style we want this to have is to kind of have a bit of a like little golden book style to it. So even here, I probably want that to be here, and then we'll kind of cater it. Okay, now I think for this, we were going to go with black again. So let's do that for just the mouth. Because I think on the original, yeah, I have like a little, there's like a little line on the mouth. So we'll keep that kind of consistent. And maybe get this little bit here. Does that work? I think that works pretty well. I like the idea of this being a little darker here too. Okay, and then we're going to do, again, we'll go back to that like dark brown for some of these details. So these details, I want to have kind of go over this. So, okay, so here we go. So we're going to do, kind of don't mind having some differentiation here. And I like the idea of this kind of, moving over here. Yep, that's working pretty well. Okay. I think we'll do this across because I like that. Maybe more smooth. And I'm going to do a little bit more of these little details. So let's see our animal line work. Some of these little details here, I don't mind. This definitely needs a little bit of a detail there. What else? Okay. We'll have our line here. It's kind of a like give and take where right now I just want to make sure we're keeping some of the like more kind of organic shape-based art with just a little bit of line over it to kind of give it some character and dimension. without kind of overblowing it. And then I love some of these lines. So again, I want to pull some of these little details, you know, from the original drawing without kind of losing some of that little golden book, like flat line art kind of vibe to it. Okay, now let's try turning off our animal line work. Hey, I really like that. I actually like that quite a bit. So now what we're going to do is get our details on our green. So we'll do like a real, let's go to that darkest tone. And then let's go even darker and do some line art there. And again, we didn't do, okay, so that's good to see. Okay. That was just seeing the previous. Okay, so I want to do some of these details of the leaf. And let's see how that works. Hey, that works pretty well. Now let's get some details of the leaf here. Let me see. Did I do the outline? Nope, we did the interior. I love it. So we just need to get some of these little details. Similarly here, we're going to get just some of those little details. And we're just kind of painting under the line art, you know, and making it try to be as kind of shape-based as we can. So we're still letting the shape kind of dictate the story. And then I do think we might add a little bit of shade behind the characters so they pop a little more too. Okay, so now we're going to do our, we're going to the thing, but I think we've got enough there to where we kind of have a rough idea of where we're heading. I want to do like real dark shades on this. So we're going to go almost black. And I think here we might just do some of these log details. Some nice log action going on here. And then I think here we might do like a brighter tone for the log bottom. So maybe the log bottom will be like the mid-tone. So let's see that again. And maybe that'll be like the mid-tone here. So we can do like some of these little log lines. Not like coding log lines, but lines on a log. And let's see here. If I turn that off, that works pretty nicely. The one thing I want now is I want to do a little more detail here, where we're kind of differentiating that a little better. And then I want to do another dark detail here, because I think that line is necessary. And maybe we do that here too. So maybe that differentiating line, you know, just so that we're not like losing the plot entirely here. So I think that works. Now what I want to do is, I think I want to try something here where we do like right under our background render, maybe just a little bit more to kind of differentiate. So we might go back to our kind of soft round, our dissolve, put it at like 50 or whatever. Maybe this one at 50. And then let's see if we can make that just a little bit more clear. Like some of the differences, our little guy here, even if it's kind of slightly cheating. Now I kind of wonder if that's too obvious. Just in case it is, maybe we do like a little bit more subtle stuff to kind of put it in the background again. And let's see here if that's too much or if that's working. I'm actually kind of digging this. I just need to correct something here. I think that might be overkill, what I just did. So maybe we can erase out some of it. That's actually totally overkill. So I almost wonder if half of it's not necessary. Or you know what we could do is we can put the opacity down quite a bit. So it's just making a subtle difference, like, but it makes it pop just a little bit more. Maybe just even less. Okay. So I'm kind of digging this. I'm going to save it, and then we're going to do our lines on the rest of these guys. So let's do our animal line art. Real quick, we need to do some dark grays. So I'm going to just go ahead and do my dark gray interior lines here on the... Oh, and we need to go back to our brush that we were using before. Turn dissolve off. Okay, cool. And this should get us a little closer to where we need to be. And I think we can actually use that same kind of thing to make our little line art here. Here. And here. And here. Cool. Okay, let's turn our line work off. I'm actually liking that quite a bit. Cool. Okay. Now we're going to do our little animals. There was one other thing I need to add, which is let's go back here. Let's select our darkest thing here. And let's go to our animal line work. And this is a pretty easy one. I like that. Okay. Now let's get our animals with line art. So I think that's Hattie. We got Hattie in there. Now we just got to get our little guy here. So he's going to have, we'll do black lines for his eyebrows. And we'll do black lines for his little things there. And then we'll do darker brown, maybe like even darker. Let's see. It's harder to see the details on this without. So let's do little details on the mouth there. I think we can do like our little fur details and our line detail, which should be kind of separating his arm there, as well as his little paws. We'll do this for the tail. We're gonna do this. Get little toes in there. Little toes. This. Close. I mean, that is pretty darn good. I think I want I wonder if I can select these. Yeah, I think I want these just to be a little bit darker. Let's do them just a little bit darker because I think that needs to pop just a little bit more. And I think his eyebrows might actually be a little much to be black. So we'll go here. Let's go back. Our eraser tool. I think we'll do the eyebrows as brown. So let's do the eyebrows as brown. And differentiate his little toes. Okay. Now we're going to do our mouse. Our mouse lines are definitely going to be black on the, again, on the whiskers. I actually kind of think we should do that for the mouth too. And the eyebrow. And then we'll do like a dark brown for the lines. kind of differentiating the animal here. Is that good? Let's see. Should be even darker. So like, let's do like a darker line, and then even darker here. Darker here. Darker there. And then I think we can do like, actually that's pretty good there. And let's see about lines on the hands, which I think could be the same color. So we're not like mixing in too many colors. I think that works pretty well. One thing I'm kind of thinking here too is I think this needs, strangely enough, like this kind of needs some kind of differentiation there because his eyes are so strange. I think that works quite a bit. Okay, now let's get our I'm also feeling like, weirdly enough, like I kind of think it might be good to like brighten these up a little bit, because this might be too much shadow. And it might be kind of confusing. Whereas the other, I needed to have like less shadow or more shadow to kind of differentiate. I think this one, I might have gone way over the top with the shadow. And so I think here we'll go to our dissolve brush, put it back at like 30 or whatever, and then we'll kind of bring back some of the shadow here because it's almost like too much on the characters. So I feel like we went so dark that we almost lost the we're almost losing the plot of the characters here. Like we might have just gone too dark. And in that case, I think that actually makes quite a bit of sense. And then if we just went like a notch darker, where it got just a little bit darker, maybe a little bit darker than that, just a little bit, you know, still have that shadow or whatever, but like it'll read a little clearer. Yeah, I think that reads a little better. It's just getting too dark in the shadow areas. Okay. There we go. Okay, let's do our acorn. Let's go to our animal flats. Acorn. And the acorn should be getting significantly brighter here. And that's going to get here. I didn't render the acorn yet, which is kind of a shame. And then let's go here to our acorn. Okay, and Let's go a little bit lighter here. Okay. Now let's do our line work on our acorn. Should be probably like brighter, I think, on this. And then we'll do, let's see if that works. Maybe we need it like, yeah, I think that works. Oh, shouldn't be on the render layer though. And it shouldn't be a dissolve brush, normal. Let's go back to our brush. There we go. Now let's try it. Let's do on our line work layer. Yeah, that works. Yeah, that actually works pretty well. I mean, for our and then we'll do let's see, for our acorn, let's do like a real bright line right there. Cool. So there's our acorn. Now we're gonna do our rabbit, and we might be actually pretty much done with this, which is pretty exciting. So let's get our rabbit. Let's do dark, and then I think we're good to go. So here, this is going to be animal line work, and we're just going to do some line art here. Make sure that's standing out. Maybe it needs to be even darker. So there we go. And then we're going to have separations. Get our little arms, fur, that arm shouldn't go up that far. Okay, and then we're going to do toes, a little bit of detail there, another little line of detail, and I think we're almost there. One little thing that I think will help. There we go. And now there's one other thing that I think is going to make it look a little less generic. And that's going to be, let's just do a little bit of lines on these things. So like a line here, line here. Similarly, like maybe these have a little bit of lines. And now I think we're going to do our line work off. And then there's just a little bit that I'd like to do to kind of help this sing a little more. And I think what we'll do is actually maybe go back to our background and background lines. And maybe we'll just add a few background lines to just kind of really solidify this. So maybe we have like a little bit of lines here. little bit of lines here. And just adding like a little bit of definition so that it feels a little more illustrated. Even if these are like really mild little bits of definition, I think it'll help. And then similarly, like here, maybe we'll do just a mild bit of definition. Yeah, I think that's actually helping a little bit to have just a little bit of line in there. I think even just a little bit, to just differentiate it just a tiny bit, helps. And then maybe we do, maybe this is a little darker or something. Darker than that. This might be a little much, but we can always pull back a little bit too if it's too much. I think that actually works. And then what we'll do is just a little bit of like here, because these are sand, we can add like a few little details. Just to like give it a little bit of a vibe, that it's a little more detailed than we have. So just some little marks. Oh, let's see if another little thing might help. Let's add like a few little grass things, like it should be like dark though, like very dark. There we go. Like maybe there's, again, like Now let's turn this down just a little bit. And I think that'll work. Okay, so I think that's going to do it. There's still something bugging me about these guys. And I'm wondering if it's just like the tone where it's not really... Let's see. Let's go back to our dissolve brush. Opacity there. Let's see. Okay. I think we've got like a little bit of extra that we can do here. I almost wonder, there's something similar happening with these guys where it's like, just wonder if there's a way to kind of tone them down a little bit. And then I think we'll do... Where's this thing? There's another thing that we have on there. I feel... There it is. Okay, guys, I think that's going to do it. So, thanks to everybody who's tuned in and checked this out. I hope you guys are all having a wonderful day. Oh, there's one other thing that I need to do that I did on the original. So we're going to grab that texture, which is we needed to add texture. That might also help. Whew. We're getting there, though. Getting very close. And I believe that'll be under here. Okay. Let me change this so I don't give away the book again. So basically, we're going to add like a painting kind of texture to the background too. And then we'll call it. There it is. Get that. Okay. I believe I found the painting texture. We should be good now if my computer doesn't freeze. Okay. And I should be able to show you guys that. Okay, so let's go back. I just didn't want to show the title of the book. So now we're going to add this kind of painting texture on top of the regular thing, so that basically it's going to have like more of a look of a painting. And then I think we'll turn the opacity down just a little bit. Oh, come on. Perfect. Okay, guys, that's going to do it. I will see you guys on the next live stream. We'll probably work on the next set of spreads and stuff for this particular children's book. But I appreciate you guys, and I will, if you haven't yet, hit subscribe, hit the bell so you get notifications when we're about to go live, and obviously hit like if you haven't yet. I appreciate you guys, and I will see you on the next live stream. Goodbye.